When it comes to the diagnosis and treatment of mental illnesses, clinicians and psychologists have a myriad of resources at their disposal. But of all the tools available, the DSM-5 is the holy grail. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders is a big fat book that codifies all the illnesses and their complexities. We thought it would be neat to take a look at some Disney icons through a psychological lens. We're not professionals, but we did recently graduate from Internet University. So here are 10 Disney characters with serious mental disorders. And before we start, can you guess this movie from these emojis? Stay tuned for the answer at the end of our video. Hades from Hercules and Intermittent Explosive Disorder. The main antagonist in 1997's Hercules is literally animated to be a hothead.
What? Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
And even though Hades is aware of his temper, he just can't seem to get a handle on it. Suffering embarrassment at the hands of infant Hercules, the ruler of the underworld seeks to have the boy killed, which feels like more than a slight overreaction. Those afflicted with intermittent explosive disorder are prone to outbursts and temper tantrums that come about with almost no warning, and depending on the person, sometimes ends with injury, property damage, or both. Hades' outbursts are more intense than the situation calls for. Even his underlings are afraid of him. Alice from Alice in Wonderland and Schizophrenia. When thinking about the story of Alice in Wonderland, 3 letters come to mind: WTF. And of the many incarnations dedicated to the classic Lewis Carroll story, Disney is responsible for 3. The surreal environments and bizarre characters add to the story's overwhelming peculiarity, and for as lost as she looks, Alice seems to be the only one who has any grip on reality. But after learning about schizophrenia, we began to wonder if maybe we had the whole thing backwards. Audio and visual phantasms, disorganized thought and speech patterns, and fear of persecution can all be symptoms of the illness. And Alice is 5 for 5. Gaston from Beauty and the Beast and Narcissistic Personality Disorder. Now here's a guy who has an entire musical number devoted to his malady, Belle's oh-so-charming suitor Gaston. And while we thought he was just a turbo jerk, it turns out the overconfident oaf has a textbook case of narcissistic personality disorder. For evidence, one need only look at the lyrics of his song. It's 3 straight minutes of bragging, a hallmark of the disorder. Signs of NPD include an inflated sense of self and tendency to look down upon others. Gaston can't handle criticism or rejection, but sees himself as the most important, strongest, admired man who ever lived. Plus, no one can eat 4 dozen eggs in one sitting, so I guess he's also a liar. Ariel from The Little Mermaid and Hoarding. If we learned anything from The Little Mermaid, it's that the ocean is full of trash. Sunken ships litter the ocean floor, their contents spilled all over the place. But one water dweller is single-handedly cleaning up the mess. Ariel is constantly messing around where she's not supposed to be, collecting discarded pieces of other people's lives. Her compulsion to collect who's-its and what's-its galore puts strain on her family relationships. And while she might see her activities as collecting, it looks a lot more like hoarding. This branch of obsessive-compulsive disorder is characterized by needless accumulation of worthless items. Old cutlery and bottles, not exactly a priceless compilation. Captain Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean and alcohol use disorder, or alcoholism. Pirates have a lot of iconography, but peg legs, pirates, and eye patches all pale in comparison to one thing: booze. Sea roving is a hard life, and drinking is a nice way to pass the time, within reason of course. But Captain Jack Sparrow didn't get the moderation memo, and his relationship with rum is borderline unhealthy. Professionals use the term alcohol use disorder, aka alcoholism, to refer to people who can't self-regulate their drinking. Alcoholics will continue consuming even if it causes them personal problems or puts them in harm's way.
You burned all the food, the shade, the rum!
Yes, the rum is gone.
Why is the rum gone?
Like, say, going on a bender and then stealing a ship, or throwing a tantrum when the booze runs out. Stuff like that. Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians and Psychopathy. Every story needs a villain, and Cruella de Vil is one of Disney's most iconic. The would-be puppy murderer is a straight-up psychopath, and here's how we know. Doctors use a diagnostic tool called the PCLR when assessing whether or not a person fits the medical definition of a psychopath. The 20-point checklist references things like callousness, overinflated sense of self-worth, and a lack of realistic long-term goals as indicators. We're not professionals, but engineering an entire scheme that hinges on the wrangling of 101 puppies quietly and efficiently seems pretty unrealistic. Plus, there's the whole, coat thing. Scar from The Lion King and antisocial personality disorder. These days, George R.R. Martin gets all the credit for killing your favorite character. But back in the day, Disney was the finest assassin in town. Famous for murdering an important parental figure within the first 5 minutes of any given movie, The Lion King is no exception. Since we've all spent decades trying to suppress the memory of Mufasa's death, we're not even gonna go there. Instead, let's chat about the cat responsible, Scar. He takes no time to think about morality, strong-arms others to get what he wants, and doesn't learn from bad experiences. Some have hypothesized that Simba's uncle suffers from antisocial personality disorder, and we're inclined to agree. Elsa from Frozen and Agoraphobia. We can think of a lot of good reasons to stay home. Netflix, sweatpants, unlimited bathroom breaks, the list goes on. But for people living with agoraphobia, staying home isn't always a choice. The fear of being surrounded by people, feeling trapped, or becoming overwhelmed by circumstances can make it impossible for them to leave the house. With this in mind, take another look at the 2013 juggernaut Frozen, and pay specific attention to Elsa. Fear of real and imagined scenarios? Check. Avoidance of populated places? Check. Anxiety about feeling trapped or embarrassed? Check and check. Granted, most people don't run the risk of accidentally killing everyone they love with ice when they feel overwhelmed, so it makes sense that Elsa prefers a low profile. Captain Hook from Peter Pan and Herpetophobia. Anxiety disorders are as varied as they are intense, and manifest themselves differently in every sufferer. Phobias are a type of anxiety rooted to a specific thing, and is a fancy pants way of saying that something scares the shit out of you. Take Captain Hook, for example. After mixing it up with a crocodile, Hook runs for the hills the second they're mentioned. Medically speaking, the captain's aversion is called herpetophobia, or fear of reptiles. It's in our best interest to keep a little space between us and the crocodile, but we aren't constantly worried about being attacked by one. Hook isn't so lucky. Rapunzel from Tangled and Stockholm Syndrome. Imagine being trapped in a tower with a treacherous custodian and no agency over your own life. If that sounds like a good time, you might have Stockholm Syndrome. After the release of Tangled in 2010, people couldn't help but notice Rapunzel's tendency to side with her malicious captor. And the conversation is still happening today. A victim's attempts to align with, sympathize, or otherwise defend their jailer is clear indication of the syndrome, and makes absolutely no sense to anyone outside of the captor-captive relationship. It's clear to the audience that Mother Gothel is an abusive guardian, but Rapunzel interprets her behavior as being rooted in love, not power. What do you think? Are there any other characters we missed? And the answer to the movie emoji is... Did you get the right answer? Let us know in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel. You can even sign up for notifications so that when we post a video, you'll be the first to know. If you liked this video, make sure that you check out our friends at the CBR YouTube channel. They've got some amazing new videos about movies, TV, video games, comics, and tons of more fun stuff. Check out their new video, subscribe to their channel, and don't forget to tell them that ScreenRant sent you.